You may be thinking, Patty, well, what wisdom is the lazy self going to bring me? My lazy self is just going to tell me to be lazy, right? And my irresponsible self is going to set us up for God knows what problems, right? Well, if that's what you're thinking, I get it, because I would think similar thoughts when I was first learning all of this. But here's what actually happens. That quality of laziness or that quality of irresponsible, to the point that it's dysfunctional, is the shadow side of a quality that's really quite beautiful. And so we want to bring that in so that we can experience the light side of that piece of us. So, for example, the lazy self, that shadow that's lazy, the light side of that is the part of you that has the wisdom to rest, the part of you that knows how to slow down. And don't you want that back? And from an irresponsible standpoint, that's the shadow side of the part of you that understands what responsibilities are yours and what responsibilities belong to other people. And as that wisdom comes in, that's also the part of you that can have fun. Because if you think about it, probably the reason fun has dried up in your life, if it has been because you have so many responsibilities. So what we want to do is we want to invite in what we perceive to be lazy, because it's going to bring in the ability to rest. And we want to bring in the irresponsible self because it's going to bring into us a clear understanding of what responsibilities are ours, what belongs to others, so we can get back to knowing how to have some fun in this life, because the energy of fun brings in lots and lots of magic. I promised you an exercise that would help you invite back in one of these rejected self parts. So we're going to get to that. We just need to figure out which one is best for you to work with. And now I want you to think about which of those sounded most like the rejected self you'd like to work with. I'm going to give you homework for both, but I'm really going to drive this point home. Only do one, right? Again, in the receiving school, I promise you, I've seen this happen over and over again. There's all this big success that happens from inviting this rejected self back. And so then there's an eagerness to work with more than one. Please, 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 you're only going to choose one, but I am going to give you the homework for each one, the exercise that's going to help you invite that part back in. So now, which of those sounded most like you? Do you find that the lazy self sounds like probably who you rejected, or the irresponsible self? And of course, most likely you've rejected both of them, but just think about which one you're most eager to invite back in. And you may be thinking, Patty, gosh, how would I even choose? Because it feels like I need both of them. So I am going to walk you through a few questions to help you choose which one you would like to focus on right now. So we want to choose which rejected self feels most alive for you. And if you're struggling with that, you are going to do this by deciding which of the following statements feels most true for you. Now, you may actually find all of them sound true, but figure out which one feels like really, really true. I'm exhausted a lot of the time. I wish I had more help. I rarely have any fun. Or my life often feels hard. Now I'm going to walk you through those all together so you could look at them, back to back and figure out which one feels most true for you. I'm exhausted a lot of the time. I wish I had more help. I rarely have any fun. And my life often feels hard. So you're going to pick which of those feels most true. And it's important for you to choose it before we go forward so that you can then understand which of those is pointing you towards the rejected self that you're going to work with. So if it's I'm exhausted a lot of the time, or I wish I had more help, that means that the rejected self you want to bring in is the lazy self. And I'm going to get to the exercise that applies to inviting back the lazy self in 1 minute. If you chose either number 3 or number 4, I rarely have any fun, or my life often feels hard, then the rejected self you want to invite back in is the irresponsible self, okay? So, did you choose lazy self because you're exhausted or need more help? If that is you, the exercise you're going to do is to determine what you feel like doing but haven't done because it seems lazy. Do you feel like sitting in front of the TV and just zoning out? Make time to do that. Maybe you want to take a nap right now. Maybe you don't want to be watching this training right now. Maybe you want to go, I don't know, go for a coffee or go for a ride. As much as I'm sad that you might be leaving the training early, I would rather you do the thing that you most want to do. So that's what you're going to write down on your worksheet is you're going to determine what you feel like doing but haven't done because it seems lazy. And then you are going to make time to do that. That's the whole exercise. I know. Awesome, right? Now, if you chose irresponsible self and you're feeling jealous because of the lazy self homework, I promise you, this one is going to feel fun to you as well. So, did you choose the irresponsible self because you would like to have more fun or just feel like life is easier? If that's the case, then your homework is to make a list of 3 things you'd like to do or buy that you haven't because it feels irresponsible. So I'm just going to give you a second. Go ahead and write that down. See if anything just pops into your head. So you're going to write down 3 things. And then you're going to pick one of them. So you're not going to do all 3 or buy all 3. You're just going to pick one. And then you're going to go ahead and do it or buy it, whatever it is. That's your homework, right? See, I told you yours was going to be just as good. Now, there's a few things I want to prepare you for as you do your homework, as you do this exercise. It's possible that you start to feel really excited. It's also possible that you start to get a little scared. No matter what reaction you have to the exercise, I promise you it's normal. This is going to do something to your nervous system because remember, you were programmed to not really embrace this. And what may have happened as you've gone through the trainings up until this point is your brain's gotten a little bit on board with this, in which case you're probably going to lean into the excited feeling. But your brain may not have bought into this quite yet, and then this exercise, as fun as it seems or as simple as it seems, may start to scare you a little. That's okay. Let me support you. Let the community support you. It will help. Now, I did mention Wendy to you yesterday, Wendy's story. And so you may be wondering which of Wendy's rejected selves she came to embrace. And for her, it was the lazy self. As we were working together, what she found was that she was saying, I'm just tired all the time. I'm tired all the time. I don't know that I can keep going forward. And I said, well, what does it feel like you're meant to do? And she's like, I just want a vacation. I just need some time away. At the time, she really wanted a chance to connect with her daughter in a better way. And flying in and working quickly, she just had little snippets of time to connect with her daughter. She wanted to take some space and time and really do that. But in her words, she felt that that would be not okay because here she was a startup. Could she really take that time? She had no room to be lazy. When she finally got on board that this was really important because this part of her was what was going to bring balance to her world, she did book that vacation. And the result was, as I shared yesterday, is when she came back, she did close that client, and she also came back. And by the way, that client was a $250,000 client. She came back with that in mind and also in a more beautiful relationship with her daughter, which is something she was really craving. She also found that she was able to more easily give herself time to grieve, which was the part of the process that was really keeping her from connecting to her mother and father on the other side of the veil. She started to see signs that they were with her, and everything started to get better. And here's what she had to say about it. I never felt like I could slow down. As a startup, it felt scary taking a vacation, but it worked. I didn't just hit my income goal, I tripled it. Patty taught me to trust in myself. Now, you may be thinking, well, Patty, Wendy didn't just take a vacation. She must have been doing other things to make her success happen. And that is the case. But what I find is we do a lot more than we need to do to create the magic in our life. And really, where we want to go is to move more into receptivity, into relaxation, into allowing. And all of these things are really what gets the magic flowing. But you would be correct in saying you can't just sit around and watch TV all day long every day, right? There's an ecosystem to giving and receiving that's critical to making all this magic work. And the 5 rules of receiving are what show you how the ecosystem works. So if you're wondering, okay, well then what's mine to do, and what is it that I'm supposed to hand over to the divine or the universe to do? Well, we're going to cover that in the next training. That's rule number 5. That's going to give you that answer. Also, if you feel like maybe your space is part of the problem, like there's physical things going on around you that are keeping the energy stuck. Maybe you've got some furniture you don't love, or maybe some relic that got handed down to you from a relative. Well, the good news is on rule number 3 that you're going to learn in our next training, I'm going to show you exactly how that affects your space and what to do with your space to allow in the most magic. All of this stuff we are going to cover in the next training, so I promise you what's coming is going to get even better.